What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It's your boy D Dyson. The Matrix Resurrections. I want to say, I watched it yesterday and I was telling myself, I'm like, it's okay-ish. Like, some things in there I liked, some things I didn't like. But for overall, I felt like the movie was boring and a bit messy. Like, it was just like, not messy in a sense where it's like it's all over the place. It's messy in a sense where it's like, it felt like it was almost a rush job. Like how they had Neo, and like, I get it. Like I said, some of the things that I did like was the resurrection of Neo and Trinity, how Neo and Trinity were basically after the Matrix Revolution. It was Neo dies, Trinity dies, and just Neo gets hauled off. So in this, you get to see what the machine world did with Neo, which is keep him alive. And they created a new Matrix for him to be this video game developer, like a celebrity, where the actual Matrix that we've seen was based off of him, and they made it to where it was just a real life, almost like the most incredible video game that you could ever play or ever do. And in this new Matrix, you seen people live there, be in it, but it just felt very animated. And you could tell Neo was kind of like, yeah, something ain't right. And as he's going to Neil Patrick Harris, and also he has a friend that, kind of checks him to make sure that, hey, stay on course, stay on task, just make sure, like, trying to keep him in place. And finding out that Neil Patrick Harris, as his therapist, is actually the architect. Like, he's the one who created that Matrix. So as long as he's in there, Neo can't be set free. Like, it's basically trying to hold him down. And then you run into Trinity, which Trinity is played as Tiffany, and Tiffany has 2 kids. So it was just like very different, but it felt weird because I was telling myself, if the fat dude was there to keep him in place, why would he want him to go over to talk to Trinity? So that was kind of like, this doesn't really make sense. And even they kind of go back and reference, when it comes to, forgot her name, who was in Iron Fist, Jessica, I really don't want to mess that up, but it's basically, she's like the Morpheus was trying to find Neo, trying to get him out, so it was reiterating the first plot point or the first premise of the Matrix, just with different characters. And I feel like that's what made me bored, because we're with this second set of people that was unplugged from the Matrix. They're in the Matrix reenacting what happened with Trinity, with the cops. And so they're behind the scenes watching it all. And it's like, well, we know what's supposed to happen. Let's just follow it so we can end up finding where Neo and where Trinity is. And I was kind of like, and then even with Morpheus, as I feel like Lawrence Fishburne should have came back, because just the way they did this, I was not impressed with Yahya Abdul-Mateen, or Yahya Mateen Abdul, how he was basically a sentient program, and they called him Morpheus because they just did Morpheus' younger likeness to be Morpheus. And it was some things, like I said, was cool. Some things I was kind of like, really? Why would you do that? And everything was just going to a head, even with old boy who was from My Hunter, and I really should have looked at his name, who was basically Agent Smith. And that was, Thomas Anderson's boss, to also keep him in place. So you had constructs to keep him in place so he wouldn't trip out. And everything was blue because it was based on the blue pill and the red pill, and how the blue pill always kept you in line, and the red pill was basically to wake you up, so to speak. So that's why I was telling myself, I'm like, yeah, and the references from the Matrix, it just really was like, it just felt like it was thrown together and didn't need it to happen. And when the only thing I did like was, like I said, when they explained what Niobe explained, the thing I really loved about Niobe or Nairobi with Jada Pinkett's character was, you know, Zion fell. They created a new city that's really, really hidden, and it's really dope how they did everything, like technology, because of, in their city, machines and humans work together. And that's why I said I love the plot point where they explained where, you know, some machines felt that Neo and Trinity's sacrifice was really, really dope. Other machines was like, man, nah, they're human, you know, whatever. So the machines went to war. So you've seen some machines side with the humans to be like, yeah, we are crazy, we are messed up, so we'll decide to help you. And they gave them that sentient technology to help rebuild another city. And I just love the black women in this. And I forgot her name is Leela. It's not Leela Rashawn, but she was based off Family Matters and how she was basically a scientist recreating food that you actually had in the simulated world, which is our real world, which is strawberries. And how they broke it down is like, that's dope, because I'm like, as a scientist and seeing how the black people are really scientists, you get to see that. I love how they added it in, and how Nairobi was like basically the general. She was trying to run it all, how she didn't like Neo, and how Morpheus fell because he was the last general who believed in Neo, and that's basically how Zion fell. So I didn't like how they put the plot premise to just rid Morpheus off, like, yeah, he was a general, he believed Neo, and then when the machines came again, he didn't believe it, so we were all unprepared type, and that's how Zion fell. So I didn't like how they did that with Lawrence Fishburne's character, because I felt like he would have been smarter than that. You know, he would have known and would have figured it out. So that's why I was like, I like that part, but I didn't. And then how their whole plot and premise was to get Trinity out, which at the end, and spoiler alert if you guys haven't seen it, how Trinity is basically the one with Neo, because Neo has powers, but it's like shared powers until he links up with Trinity to unlock his full powers, and finding out that Trinity has it as well. So when Trinity wakes up, you know, you find out that she's the one. Like, she can fly, she can do all the things that Neo did. Neo was trying to get his powers back, but most of them didn't work. He just had this force push that he always does, and he could block bullets. So I was telling myself, I'm like, trying to get his powers back until Trinity came, and then Trinity finally got all of his powers back. So I was kind of like, yeah, you know, yeah, I like the ending where it was like, this is what my dream ends. I don't know what's going to happen. They just dove off the building and find out that Trinity can hold him, because Trinity is actually the one as a big reveal. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's. And then they go back to the architect and how she just beating up the architect and snapping his fingers, like, come back, because basically now they run the Matrix. And trying to see, I remember they said that they're going to do a trilogy, and I was like, you don't need to do a trilogy. You just leave this where it's at. That's just how I look at it. I really give this movie like a 6 out of 10. Just because, like I said, it's The Matrix, and with the CGI that was back then, that was groundbreaking. With this, you know, technology has caught up. I feel like they did those rush scenes, like, and it just wasn't doing it for me. It felt USA Network, Netflix-ish when it comes to some of the fighting and the shooting, and nothing innovative. You know, and I feel like they could have found some things where it was really, really innovative, or they could have spent a lot of money on CGI, which I'm pretty sure they didn't. So it was something to get through, not something to watch. And that's kind of how I was like, damn, this is really a disappointment. But nevertheless, it's still The Matrix, and I will always love The Matrix. So if you guys enjoyed my review of The Matrix Resurrections, subscribe to my channel, post a comment down below, and like the video. It's your boy, D. Dyson. Peace.